Welcome to Prologues. My name is Mary, and when I get overwhelmed and start feeling behind, I find it helpful to zoom out and remind myself that I am still in the beginning of my story. I'm sharing all of my life's chapters: mental health, relationships, wellness, beauty, the chaos of being in my 20s, and all of life's unexpected turns. Prologues is the best way to start your week, so join me every Monday morning for a new entry into my digital journal. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I want to jump straight into it and I want to talk about productivity tips and things that I do that are meant for people with low energy or even people who struggle with depression. I'm bipolar and I frequently have depressive episodes. I've had a couple this spring, but in general, I'm just a low energy person. I'm not the type to jump out of bed with a spring in my step and think, oh my God, another day to tackle. That's just not really me. I am a napper. I am a sleepy, tired person. It's actually to the point where it's been so bad lately that I think I should get a blood panel done or something and get my hormones level checked, my thyroid checked. I've been so tired lately, and I think maybe that's emotional burnout rearing its ugly head again. I don't know what it is. I just feel very tired and very low energy a lot of the time, especially lately. Unfortunately, I'm also in a very busy season of my life, and there's a lot of things that I have to get done every day I can't put life on pause to deal with my low energy or my depression ever. So along the way, I have come up with this list of tips that I use literally every single day to help me get things done, even when I just feel unable to. Sometimes you have to rest. Sometimes you have to honor your body and what your brain is telling you. You simply have to take time off and you have to give yourself rest time. Like, rest is productive as well. But sometimes you just have to get things done because life cannot be put on hold. And so that's the scenario that I feel like I'm speaking to today. I've especially been using all of these tips lately because, like I said, I'm in a very low energy period of my life. Maybe it's a stress response. Maybe I don't know what it is. I want to get a blood panel done because at this point I'm wondering if this is medical. But I've also used a lot of these tips in depressive episodes in the past. Not the most severe ones. During a really severe depressive episode, it's a miracle if I get out of bed. But in the more like moderate to mild depressive episodes where you just kind of have to make yourself push through and get things done, I use these tips. And I really hope that these tips help somebody out there, another low energy girly, maybe someone who struggles with depression, because I completely understand. I completely understand how difficult it is to force yourself to do things when all you want to do is get in bed, curl up, and take a nap, or just sleep for years and never wake up. If you have any more tips to add to this list, let me know, and I will in turn share them with the Prologues listeners because I think a lot of us probably struggle with this. The first idea that really works for me is the morning sets the tone for my entire day. I'm not a morning person at all, but if I have a morning that doesn't feel productive, that doesn't start off on the right foot, I'm the type of person who finds it very easy to write off my entire day. I used to have this series on TikTok a couple of years ago called Turning My Day Around. And it centered around this idea that I was always so depressed during the day. And then at 4, 5, 6 p.m. every day, I would feel like shit about myself for not accomplishing more. And I would write the whole day off and I'd be like, well, today just sucks. I might as well go to bed. And so the series was about me finding ways to turn my day around and still make the most of my evening and still feel good, even though I had maybe had a really depressed day or just hadn't gotten a lot done. Because I am someone who is, eager to write a day off, an entire day off, if it just doesn't start off on the right foot. So the morning is really critical for me. I'm not a morning person. I don't like getting up early. And damn it, it's so annoying that all that advice about get up earlier and get some fresh air and get some sunlight in your eyes right away, it actually does work. And it is so annoying. I find that I have a much better day when I make a point to get up a little earlier. Or if getting up early isn't your thing, just getting up the first time your alarm rings without snoozing. On the days where I find myself snoozing my alarm over and over and over again, it doesn't even matter what time I actually get out of bed. I've already started the day off on the wrong foot by just putting it off, by delaying it. There is no delaying it. The day is going to come one way or another. And so I find that it helps me just set the right tone if I either get up a little earlier or I just say, I'm getting up as soon as my alarm rings. I'm not going to lay in bed. I'm not going to try to go back to sleep. I'm not going to snooze my alarm a zillion times. I'm not going to lay in bed scrolling on my phone. I'm going to get up. Similarly, I hate that this is actually effective, but it does really help to go outside, for me at least. I just align this with a morning coffee run. I try to go to my favorite coffee shop, get a little drink that I love that makes me excited. I'll pick one up for Matt as well. And that way I am still starting my morning off pretty early, but I've gotten a little fresh air. I've gotten my blood moving. I've gotten some movement. I've looked at the sun or the clouds or whatever. And I'm just setting off my morning on the right foot. And I find that not only do I feel so much more productive in the morning than I do at the end of the day, if I can manage to do this, but I feel better about my day overall. I feel like I've already accomplished something when I can do this. Another part of this is trying to stay off of my phone in the morning. This is so difficult for all of us. It's one of the hardest habits to break. In the past, I've had success with leaving my phone on the other side of the room or even in another room because now I have an actual alarm clock. I use the Hatch, and so I don't need my phone for the alarm. But a morning killer for me every single time it happens is if my alarm goes off, I reach over, I grab my phone, and I just start scrolling. I scroll on everything. My emails. I'm so bad at checking my emails, or I'm bad for checking my emails first thing in the morning. Why? It's not important. I'm not going to be emailing anybody back. It's not working hours. Good Lord knows I'm not going to email someone outside of working hours if I can help it. And then I go on Instagram and I check reels. And then I go on Threads. I've been a Threader lately. I'm actually really enjoying Threads right now. You have to really curate your feed because I can't deal with some of there's a lot of ideas that people have that I don't want to see. There's like a lot of people who have opinions that I simply don't need to see. And then I check Pinterest and like there's nothing to even check on Pinterest. Who checks their Pinterest notifications? I don't know. I just like looking at the pretty pictures. And then I check my YouTube comments and then I see how the podcast is doing and I just check everything. And it's so bad because I'm checking like 6 or 7 different apps. And so at that point, it's been 30 minutes. And it always makes me feel bad about myself because I know it's not the best thing for me. It does elevate my stress a little bit to just dive back into my working world or the social media world as soon as I wake up. It doesn't give me a buffer. It doesn't give me space to really enjoy my morning because it just puts me in thinking mode way too quickly. I don't need to be thinking about work at 7 in the morning. It doesn't matter. Work hasn't started yet. So even though that is really difficult, I do know that that's a critical part of setting the right tone of my day with setting the right tone for my day in the morning. But this is very hard. This is probably the bit that I'm the worst at. Another reason why I just feel like my day goes better when I get out of bed as soon as I wake up. So that's the first one. Another one is working with my energy levels. I always crash in the afternoon. And when Taylor Grasso, the dietitian, came on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, she was telling me that the 4 p.m. energy slump is usually because you need to eat more. And so she gave ideas for an afternoon snack that can help balance your blood sugar and give you an energy boost. Sometimes that works for me and sometimes it doesn't. And that's why I'm at the point where I'm like, should I get my thyroid checked or something? Because even a balanced afternoon snack is not really getting me through the 4 p.m. slump at the moment. Again, maybe it's a stress response. I don't know what's going on with me, okay? Maybe I'm just burning out again. I don't know what's going on. I can't find the energy to do anything after like 4 p.m. Sometimes I'll get a little burst at around 8 p.m., but it's rare. And so instead of feeling bad about myself because of that, I'm just trying to work with my body's natural energy levels that rise and fall throughout the day. So I just know, again, morning sets the tone. I know that I'm going to be more productive before that time. And so I try to schedule everything within that time. I try to have all my meetings between like 11 and 2, because even after 2, socially, I'm just sort of winding down. And I just know I'm not my best, most clever, most clear thinking self later in the afternoon. This episode is sponsored by Bondi Boost. I got my hair bleached again 2 weeks ago, and my hairdresser recommended I start getting trims every 6 weeks to help keep my hair healthy as I continue to grow it out and keep my balayage. 6 weeks is very frequent, but I'm not worried because I'm still using the Bondi Boost HG shampoo and conditioner. Bondi Boost HG is a hair care line designed to help encourage hair health and growth, and I've seen firsthand on my own head how well it works. There are multiple star ingredients that help make the HG line so powerful. Rosemary oil encourages scalp circulation. Peppermint oil cools and soothes the scalp. Saw palmetto helps prevent hair from falling out. Nettle leaf helps strengthen the strands, and aloe vera gently exfoliates the scalp because we all know that healthy hair starts with a healthy scalp. In a 1-month consumer perception study with 30 participants, 90% saw longer, thicker, fuller hair in just 1 month, and that reflects how I feel about it too. I've been using it nonstop since last July, so that's 10 months now. I've had so many haircuts since then. I've been bleaching my hair, and overall, I'm still so happy with my hair length because you guys know I've been growing it out since last year. Bondi Boost has generously given Prologues listeners a code, so you can find it at Ulta Beauty, and you can use Mary20 for 20% off of your order. I'll put a link in the show notes, but just remember Mary20 for 20% off your order, or you can stop in your local Ulta Beauty to pick it up. I also try to get all of my deadlines finished at that time. If I have any creative work to do, I just find I'm able to think more clearly. I feel more like connected to my work earlier in the day, and so I just don't even try. I don't even try to get important things done after 4 p.m. because it's not going to happen. And I'm allowing myself to do that. And to be fair, I am lucky that I'm able to do that because I work from home and I get to make my own schedule. But if you're able to organize your tasking and your scheduling throughout the day, working with your natural energy levels is something that's really great for productivity for low energy people. Something else I do is I break tasks into very small, manageable parts. I get really overwhelmed with big tasks and big deadlines, and I don't know where to start, and I get very anxious and I put it off because I want it to be perfect. I saw this thread recently, and I'm probably going to misquote it, but the gist was perfectionism is not feeling like everything has to be perfect all the time. It's just easily finding fault in things. Like if you're a perfectionist, it doesn't mean that you're perfect at everything all the time. It just means that you're constantly finding flaws within yourself. And that called me out so badly. I hated that. I actually hated that it said that to me because that's how I am. I don't like to start things if I feel like I can't do it really well. And that often leads to me feeling too overwhelmed by a big task to go anywhere near it until time is running out and I'm motivated by panic about not getting it done in time because I don't like to extend deadlines. I will if I need to, but I don't like to ask people for accommodations. And I feel those are issues I need to work out within myself, but I'm so motivated by last minute panic and I procrastinate a lot. I also feel like I experience executive dysfunction in this way where I just don't even know where to begin. So something that works for me is breaking tasks down into very tiny increments that feel manageable and that don't feel scary to start. This is also great because it gives me an excuse to make lists. And I am nothing if not a girl who wants to make lists. This is also really helpful for me when there's a task that has knock-on effects within it. So if you need to get one thing done before you can get the next thing done, before you can get the next thing done, it really helps me to make a list and itemize all of those and then plan a schedule and a realistic timeline for getting each of those done so that the entire project gets done on time. And then I also make a to-do list and I list all of those things separately. So I can check them off my to-do list as I go. I can get that mini sense of accomplishment because I'm getting things done and the entire task goes easier for me. When I was really, really depressed in college, I did this surrounding my entire life. I would write out a to-do list for each day, and I was so depressed that I had to break my day into increments that like they were so tiny you wouldn't believe. Like literally wake up, get out of bed, walk to the bathroom, brush my teeth, walk back to my bedroom, make my bed, start my makeup, pack my backpack. Like those were the size of the tasks that I felt like I had to break down in one of my most depressed times ever. But it worked because I got to cross off every single thing on my list as I did it, and I felt mildly better about myself, but every little bit helps. Thankfully, I'm not in that place anymore, but that's an example. And I think that's fine. I don't know, I think it's easy to make yourself feel bad about yourself when you have a hard time getting things done because we live in a society that values productivity and your output and what you're contributing to the outside world more than anything else. But what's more important than that is how you treat yourself and how you take care of yourself. You don't have to be producing things constantly, and you don't have to be the best at everything ever in order to be valuable and in order to just deserve to exist. But I'm definitely someone that has a hard time accepting that about myself. I feel like a lot of my my worth that I see in myself is based off of what I'm producing, what I'm creating, what I'm giving to other people, and also like tangible markers of success that are recognized by other people. But that's not really fair, and it's not right, because I can define for myself what it means for me to have a successful day or to be successful. And when I'm really low energy or I'm really depressed, having a successful day means brushing my teeth, eating a couple meals, getting at least one thing from the to-do list done, keeping my mindset, if not positive, fairly neutral, being nice to my husband and not like taking out a bad mood on him. Those are things that are little bits of success for me when I'm really not doing well mentally, or I just have absolutely zero energy. And I get to decide that for myself. Another one that works for me is getting my heart rate up. This might sound counterintuitive, because if you're really low energy, why would you waste energy by getting your heart rate up? But it actually really helps for me, because I just feel like it gets the blood flowing. And I don't know if this is scientifically accurate. I feel like it gets the blood flowing to my brain. I just feel a little bit more focused. When I'm really low energy or I'm struggling with depression, I have no focus. I feel really scatterbrained. I just kind of feel lost in like a fog, and nothing is clear and nothing makes sense. And I can't organize my thoughts, and I can't pinpoint any thoughts. But I find that a little bit of exercise, even if it's not much, I'm talking like a brisk walk, a couple jumping jacks, shaking out your limbs, like even something really, really small, helps me focus myself. And then it's easier to be productive, because I'm able to assess my situation and figure out what I need to do better or in a more efficient way. So getting my heart rate up works. Could be a morning walk, but like I said, it could just be like shaking your limbs out and maybe splashing icy water on your face and maybe a jumping jack or two, or even just like blasting my favorite song and then just kind of like shaking the limbs out, raising my mood a little bit, listening to good music, listening to like I said, my favorite song, kind of raising my vibration and my vibe a little bit. It just helps me look at what I have to do with a fresh outlook and a better mood, and it helps me be more focused. So that's a really great tip as well. Again, these are all tips that I literally use all the time, because if I don't, I will never get anything done, because I have no energy and I get depressed all the time. Like, these are tried and true. And that's why I hope that they work for at least somebody else. Another one is I try, I'm bad at this one, because again, productivity equals value sometimes in my sick, twisted little head. Another one I try to do is not take on more than I can and delegate more. This is hard. I hate asking for help. It feels like an admission of failure to ask for help sometimes. Again, why? Issues I need to work out in my own brain. But it does. I consider it a triumph every time I successfully ask somebody for help or admit that I'm not doing well in the moment, not in retrospect, but in the moment. But sometimes when you're not doing well, or you don't have much output, don't have a lot of bandwidth emotionally or physically, you just can't take on more things. You have to say no to things. You have to say, you know what? I'm not able to take that extra thing on right now. I can't do that. I need to push this to next month. I'm going to get back to you tomorrow. You have to put boundaries around what you are able to do. You have to be realistic with yourself. If you already know that you're struggling with depression or really low energy, and you are having maybe a more limited output, which is fine, why would you try to force yourself out of it by taking on tasks, additional tasking, that is just going to make you feel like shit about yourself when you can't get it done? It doesn't make sense. And yet we do it. I do it, but it doesn't make sense. And so I just try to have really strict boundaries around what I accept into my life. And I try to be realistic about what I can do. And I try to cut myself some slack. Again, horrible at this. But I try. I try to say it's okay if I have to ask for an extension on this deadline. It's not the end of the world. It's okay if I call someone on my team and I say, you know what, it's not a good day for me. Can I get this to you tomorrow? Is that all right? Because 99% of the time, if you just explain your situation and you're honest and you're just vulnerable with people, they understand, because we all go through things like this. And being vulnerable is scary, but I find that if you can be vulnerable, you just get a much better reaction and people are more willing to be accommodating. Because I feel like this is so much more common than we talk about, etc. And I also try to delegate a little bit more, which is also hard because, again, it feels like asking for help. But I find that this is really helpful, especially around the house, because there's not a lot of things that I can delegate in my work. Although, have I told you guys this? I think I said this in a YouTube video. One of my biggest goals for this year is to finally hire an assistant. I've been wanting to throughout the last 6 months. Honestly, maybe should have 6 months ago, or a virtual assistant or something, because I've gotten to a point with my business where I feel like I'm really holding myself back from continuing to expand and grow into my business because I have not hired assistants yet. And so a really big goal of mine once I move is to get a full-time assistant. And it would be like a completely full-time position. I definitely have lots of tasks for them to do, whoever it ends up being. And so this will probably apply to my life more in a work sense when I do hire an assistant, but in a household sense, when I am able to say, hey, Matt, I know I said I would do this, but I'm really not doing well. Could you take this off my plate? 9 times out of 10, he's able to. And he doesn't mind, because when you love someone, you try to help them when they're not doing well. So I do try to delegate household tasks or personal life tasks a little bit more when I need to. I mean, this is very hard for me. Recently, I was in a really, really depressed mode. I don't even know what was going on. It was like just a horrible week for me, and nothing had happened. It was just mental health. And so I had this really huge basket of laundry that I needed to fold and put away. You guys already know laundry is my least favorite task in the world. I say this all the time. I hate putting away laundry. Putting away laundry is my least favorite adult life thing. It has been my entire life. I would rather do the dishes. I'd rather cook, and I don't like cooking either. I would rather clean the entire house. I'd rather scrub a bathroom. I'd rather mop. I'd rather do anything than put away laundry, and I don't know why. I hate it. And I had this big basket of laundry, and I was putting it off. I kept putting it on the bed, thinking if I put it on the bed, then I have to do it before tonight because it's on the bed. And then at nighttime, I would just move it to the floor. And I did that little dance, that little back and forth for days. Finally, I go to Matt and I'm like, you said that you will do anything you can to help me. Did you mean that? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, can you please do my laundry for me? And I'd never asked him to do that. I've never asked another human being in my life to do my laundry for me, because it just feels like an admission of failure or something to ask for help with something like that. But it isn't. And I said, I really need to get this done. You want this done because it's taking up space in our bedroom. And yet I cannot make myself do it. And he knows I hate laundry, because in the past, I've even asked him to hang out with me in the bedroom while I'm putting away laundry, like body doubling for me. So he knows I don't like it. And he was like, sure, yeah, that's fine. It took him maybe 20 minutes, probably 15. And he did it fine. Sure, he folded my socks a little weird. He folds socks weird, or maybe I do. I don't know. He folded my socks in a way that was very different than the way I fold them. And I had feelings about that. But I didn't voice them because he had done me a favor. But I was a little like territorial over my socks in that moment, but he did it for me, and it didn't take him that long. And then I just felt a huge weight lift off of my shoulders because it was just done. And I didn't have the mental pressure of knowing that was still on my to-do list. And so that was a win for me. I asked for help, and I allowed someone to help me, even if they did fold my socks in a way that I don't recognize. So I do try to delegate a little bit more when I have really low energy. And again, if you're just kind of honest and you're a little bit vulnerable, I find that people generally tend to be accepted. Sometimes they're not. I have had many experiences in the workplace at different jobs in the past where like the manager or the boss simply did not give one single shit. It happens. But at least in my like last several years, I found it's a little bit easier. Or maybe I don't know, maybe I'm better at expressing myself, or maybe those old managers and bosses were just really bad at their jobs and now I have better people around me. Either way, I find that if I really get to a point where I just need some help, if I explain that to a member of my team, generally speaking, it's okay. Okay, you guys, those are my 6 productivity tips for low energy people. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode today, but this is a practicing what I'm preaching moment, because this is me not taking on more than I feel like I'm actually able to give at the moment or produce at the moment, because I'm having very low energy right now. Another thing that I think about is the idea that anything worth doing is worth half-assing. I don't know if that's an actual saying, but someone told me that once, that anything worth doing is worth half-assing. And I've been applying that principle to my life recently because I'm the type of person who's like, well, if I can't do it perfectly, I'm not going to do it at all. But that just gets in the way a lot. So now I'm trying to take the approach of if it's worth doing and if I want to do it, the amount of energy that I can give to it is better than nothing. Something's better than nothing. So again, practicing what I'm preaching right now, and I'm not taking on more than I feel like I am mentally and physically able to do. And so this episode is a little bit shorter. I hope that's okay. Next week's episode, you're really going to love. Little teaser, little spoiler. Matthew's coming on the podcast next week, and it's a longer episode. It's like a full length episode. And yeah, for the first time, Matthew's coming on Prologues, and I'm really excited about that. I think you guys will be too. And let me know if any of these tips resonated with you, or if you've used them before, or if you have other tips. I'm sure I have more than just these 6, but these are the 6 that came to mind because I've been using them the most lately. And I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Thank you for spending your Monday with me. I hope that wherever you are and whenever you're listening, you're having a great day and a great week. And I just love you for listening. Thank you. I guess that's all I have to say today. I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye.